Well, good morning. It is Monday, November 8th, and today's devotion is called Emmanuel. In John chapter 2, verses 6 through 11. Now there were 6 stone jars for the Jewish rite of purification, each holding about 20 to 30 gallons. And Jesus said to his servants, "Fill the jars with water." And they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast." So they took it. When the master of the feast tasted the water now become wine and did not know where it come from, the master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and when people have drunk freely, then the poor wine. But you have kept the good wine until now." This, the first of his signs, Jesus did in Cana of Galilee and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. There was a bona fide crisis underway. Back in Jesus' day, wine was a staple at most meals and a must at any respectable celebration. But at this wedding, the wine had run out. A humiliation of epic proportion for the groom's family who had hosted the party. Jesus' mother, Mary, took it upon herself to find Jesus and to bring him up to speed. "They have no wine," were her words. But her sense of urgency and meaning were clear. Help. No one in attendance except his mother had reason to believe Jesus could provide. He was as poor as anyone. He was seemingly normal. Up until that moment, there was little to set him apart from the other partygoers, which makes his mother's directed debut a precious backdrop to what followed. Jesus' newly recited disciples watched as he instructed the servants to fill giant jars of water. What a confusing but intriguing directive. The servants did as they were told, which included taking a glass of water to the superiors, the master of the feast, who apparently knew nothing of the looming drama. And then at some point between the drawing and the giving, the water turned into wine. Not just any wine, but awesome wine, the quality of which brought honor to the host, since common practice was to serve the cheap stuff first, and as soon as the guests were too drunk to notice, the party and reputation of his friends were saved. But all the miracles Jesus could perform first, he chose a wedding and wine and only a few witnesses. Why? Because he's Emmanuel, God with us. The setting of his first miracle, the need in front of Jesus and potential embarrassment, and his obedience to his mother were consistent with everything else in his life. Jesus was ordinary. He was born in a stable, raised by simple people, and worked as a carpenter like his dad. He attended schools and synagogue and now a party because God's method of rescuing the world was to enter into it. For the next 3 years, the disciples saw Jesus do extraordinary things in ordinary, everyday circumstances. They watched the Messiah be hungry, happy, tired, frustrated, angry, and in the Garden of Gethsemane afraid. They saw him love on the poor and the rich alike, often using the common display of his heavenly glory like loaves and fishes, mud, waves, trees, and tombs. They learned to minister to real people with real problems, to love without prejudice, to preach the gospel no matter the conditions, to perform miracles, and to obey unto death. And through it all, the disciples followed in his steps because of their faith as the one who was with them, Emmanuel, God with us, who dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory as of the only Son from the Father, full of grace and hope. And so our prayer focus. Thank God for Emmanuel, and ask God for help in your pursuit to find extraordinary in the ordinary things of day. And so our moving forward questions. At this moment, what circumstances are most difficult for you? How should knowing that God is with you affect the way you respond to your circumstances? Just as the servants at the wedding had to draw water before they actually saw the water turn into wine, what are ways you could step out in faith as a result of Jesus' promise to be with you always?